guys, it's your girl 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐬 back with another video. Today in this video, I'm going to show you guys how I made these DIY textured canvases for literally under $40. Yes, under $40. I'm going to be showing you guys step by step what to do, how I did it, my inspiration for the project. Hopefully you guys find this tutorial very helpful. Before we get started, I do just want to let you guys know that everything I use for this video will be linked down below in my description box, so be sure to check that out. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, first things first, to start, let me just start with my inspiration. I don't know if you guys know, but these textured art pieces can be very expensive. A lot of like home decor inspiration that I see, they always have like the textured canvases, and I've just seen so many videos of people doing it themselves that looked so easy. So I was like, let me do it myself. I mean, why not? And as you guys can see, they're right back there. Here's some of my inspiration pieces from Pinterest that made me want to recreate this. Let's start off by talking about the supplies and the cost that I used for this project. This was under $40. Like, I don't think it gets any better than that to have two 16 by 20 inch canvases. So starting off with the canvases themselves, I got a 2-pack of the 16 by 20 inch canvases from Five Below. Now y'all know Five Below is not Five Below no more. Everything is $5 and beyond. Why is the $5 still $5.55? We're not gonna get into that because that's a story for another day. But for the canvases, they were $5.55 for a 2-pack, which that's pretty good if you ask me. Versus if you go to like Michael's or if you get them on Amazon, they're gonna cost you a little bit more money. So I definitely recommend you run to Five Below and see if they still have them. Next, everything else that I got is from Amazon. The only thing I bought was the canvases from my actual store. Everything else, Amazon. So the paint scrapers, they're around $7. The joint compound, I believe I bought the 3-pound one, but that one cost me around $10. The lights to go above the canvases cost me around 15 bucks. Now I really did like the lights that I chose. I just think it looks very modern. It adds a very modern touch to your space. So now let's get into how I actually made it. Pretty much I just started off by unwrapping everything, obviously. Starting with one of the canvases, the first thing you want to do is spread a layer of joint compound on the canvas. Now, I will say this project is a little bit messy, so I would say this is probably a project you could wear gloves for. I didn't, but if you want to, I would definitely wear gloves. And then also to spread out the joint compound, I've seen a couple different things. Some people just use a spatula. I don't know what it's called. If I know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna insert a picture here and the name of it. You can use that, but me personally, I was like, I'm not gonna buy any more tools for this project just for this part to spread it out evenly. I felt like I would find something around the house. So what I used was a wooden paint stirrer. Very convenient, and if you have that around your house, you might as well just use it because you can literally wash it off when you're done and then reuse it for a paint stirrer. Once you pour some of the joint compound on the canvas, you just want to start spreading it out evenly. Once it is spread out evenly, then that's where you want to take that same tool that you used. In my case, I used the paint stirrer. I took the wooden paint stirrer and I started making horizontal strokes. This is what's gonna give you your like 3D texture to your piece, and this is gonna act as your background. I do also want to add that when it comes to DIY textured art canvases, there's so many different designs that you can do. You just gotta pick the one that works for you and then recreate it. It's not gonna be perfect, it's not gonna look the exact same, but that's the art in it. It doesn't have to look perfect and it still looks good. So that's when these paint scrapers come in handy. They are great for this DIY because they give you that like pattern, texture, whatever you want to call it, to your pictures. I picked the two that I wanted to use that kind of like mimicked the arches that were in my inspo picture. Once I picked out the two that I wanted to use, it was time to start making the arches. Let me just say this, it is a lot harder than it looks. I watched a lot of TikToks on it. I didn't think it was going to be as hard as it was. When I was making the arches, I was like, bro, how come mine is not turning out straight? So if this happens to you and you're making it and you don't like how it's turning out, just know that joint compound does not dry quickly. It's one of those materials where you have to let it sit for hours for it to dry. So that's the beauty in it, where if you mess up, you could literally go back over with your tool. I went back over with my paint stirrer and I literally spread it out evenly again, started making my horizontal strokes and started from scratch pretty much, and then I started carving out the arches again. So honestly, for me, it did take me a couple tries. I think I did the first canvas like 3 times until I actually was like satisfied with it. And again, like I said, the good thing about textured art is that it's very unique, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look like your inspo picture. Just make it your own and just have fun with it until you're satisfied with how it looks for you. And then lastly, I'm sorry that I didn't film this part for you guys because this was kind of like a off the whim type of thing, and then my camera had also died. But I do want to add that I went over mine with some paint just because, for one, when you work with joint compound and then it officially dries on your canvas, I noticed that because my canvas is very thin, when I was trying to pick it up, if you try to like hold the middle, it's like the joint compound became very like crackly. And so I was like, okay, well, I didn't add a sealant, so it's like that dusty powdery wood like finish, so it's not really like sealed, if that makes sense. I would say you could add a sealant of some sort if you just want to keep it white, or paint it white. For me, I decided I did not want to do white because I put it against my white walls and I was like, yikes. I didn't really like how it looked. The contrast, I think, was a little bit too strong with having like the bright white. So I was like, okay, I want to paint over it. I decided to paint over it with the off-white color. Once I painted over it, I let it dry overnight, came back to it the next day, and it was perfect, you guys. One, the color looks a lot better against my wall. And then two, because I used paint and put the paint on top of it, that acted as a sealant. Essentially, when I was picking it up from like the fabric part, not by holding the border, it was no longer giving me that crackly feel, which I feel like that's a good thing, only because if you decide to like move your art pieces to different locations, you decide you don't like it, it's more of a risk of it getting crackly and it like messing up. So I feel like having the paint as a sealant, I definitely recommend. So yeah, that's honestly really it. I hope this was very simple and easy to follow. I definitely recommend this project or activity to everyone because it's just like, not only was it fun to do, but then also I have new decor in my room that I made myself. Make sure you guys check out the description box down below. I will have all the materials and supplies I use for the project in the description under my Amazon storefront. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope you guys are able to still recreate this DIY. Let me know if you recreate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Stay blessed and not too stressed.